This episode of The Horror Show is brought to you by Andy Haycock. And, it's so hard not to make a joke. Zachary Lara, Robert Potts, Jasmine Stone. Jasmine Stoner, man, this girl, God, she's the best. Thank you so much, Jasmine, again. Juan Rodriguez, James Watkins, and that is it for this week. Wow, thank you guys all so much. So many Patreon members. Thank you. We really appreciate it. So we did not do Hatchet this week. Go fucking figure. Us switching an episode. That's weird. But we are doing... So what happened was, and I tried to explain this on the show and I did it so terribly. But I was thinking like 200 episodes, man. That's crazy. You can't do Hatchet. Like you need to do like something really fucking... classic. So we did Troll 2 for our 200th episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. There's some updates on where we're going with the show at the end. Just nothing crazy, but Joe's got a couple babies, so I think there's going to be some time off here coming up soon. But we should be back next week with Hatchet, and yeah. So that is all I have. I swear I might not be able to edit this episode. It is Sunday night. You'll also hear us talk about this where because of the kids, like Joe's getting the house ready and doing things like that. So we've been recording like whenever we get a chance, like as quickly as we can. Sometimes it's the day it's released, like last week. Sometimes it's Sunday night, and I still like to get it out for the Patreon people. So it's been tough, but so I might not be able to edit it. I'm going to try and at least clean it up. So you might hear us be like, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Which I usually try to clean out. But yeah, so enjoy that. Well, don't enjoy that part, but thank you for listening. Enjoy the episode. Trolls 2, which has no trolls. It's just goblins.
Paying attention in class, I was thinking about the adventures of Ash, about the misfortune of sitting kids at Crystal Lake. Became addicted straight away with the initial tape. God bless Betamax. VHS, holy like Amanda Kruger. I was introduced to genre flicks by Toby Hooper. I started craving more just like Larry the Looter. I collected VHS without commentary or bloopers. No computers, magazines, a bunch of stores. Spent my money on movies and begged my mom for more. I'd watch the boys kill those Astro bastards 5 times a day or even more. I loved the gore. Lionel and Paquita combined their lonely hearts. I was hellbound, Cenobites tore my soul apart. I've seen them all, from Dracula to Vertigo. Listen up, welcome to The Horror Show with Sean and Joe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Show. Show that dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
Well, guys, the old switcheroo like we always do. No Hatchet today.
Wait, have we not let on that we're not doing that?
No.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm sorry to Tara, who literally posted like a thing being like, oh my God, I'm so excited for episode 200 and Hatchet. I'm so sorry to Tara and Chris. We'll do Hatchet. We'll do Hatchet the next episode. But
is that Tara Mascara?
Yeah. But you know what? I wasn't thinking that this was our 200th episode, and as entertaining as Hatchet might be of an episode, Troll 2 just had to happen for 200. I think it was fitting. I think we just had to do Troll 2 for this week. Yeah. You know, it's celebratory, so why not punish yourself? You know what I mean? Like.
Listen, man, I love this movie.
Man, that's I don't.
I own it on 2 different DVDs, and I've seen it countless times.
Did you watch the documentary?
Yeah, the best worst movie ever.
Yeah,
multiple times actually.
The documentary is better than this, I think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the documentary, it's the mother of this family that's like really upset that people make fun of it.
Is that, yeah, it was either her or the daughter. I haven't seen it since it came out.
I think it's the mom, and she's like, but she's very upset. She's very upset that like people bother her about this movie. which is insane, which is fucking
Well, I remember when I watched the documentary, for all intents and purposes, it seemed like a disaster to be on set.
for sure. And we've actually...
There was a severe language barrier.
Yes, and that's we've talked about that on other episodes where we've like pointed to this movie and been like, I think that's what happened on this film also, because but this is like another level. Like, this is clearly a foreign person writing scripts for people.
I just wanted to bring that point up again because I do know that we've mentioned it, but can you imagine, say you go to work tomorrow and you're handed like a bunch of shit to do, and the guy does not speak the same language as you, and you would just have to kind of figure it out. Like,
And
this is your job.
Yeah, and he just hands it to you and expects you to read it. Like, that's directed by so we're doing Troll 2, released October 12th, 1990. Claudio Fragasso is the director under the pseudonym Drake Floyd. And produced by Joe D'Amato, who also used his pseudonym.
Yes, Joe D'Amato, a fan favorite over here.
Yeah, like, he's such an idiot. But did you, while I was looking into this, I read one of the most alarming things that I couldn't even.
Is it him saying that the like explicitness of a movie matters way more than the plot or like characters?
Yeah, like the financial aspect of the movie is what matters, not the entertainment value. And it's like, Joe, what the fuck did you make that made money? Like,
oh wait, I didn't know he said that. I thought he was just talking about like the sleazier it is all that matters.
Oh no, I don't. Oh, maybe did I misread that? Oh wait, I want to find it.
I'm gonna Google it. This is good podcasting, right?
I know. I'm sorry. I hate that. So, stated. Oh yeah. So his view is that profitability of films was more important than entertainment value. Profitability. What movie do you think he made that was like a box office like success?
None. That is why I didn't believe you at first. Because I thought he was known for just, I mean, the reason I thought what I thought is because he just makes bullshit. I've seen movies of his where like you can't see the screen for 90%.
I mean,
he made that shark movie where there's two, what was it called? I can't remember. It's called like Blood Shark or whatever. You cannot see the entire climax of that film because it's shot at night on a beach and like he doesn't have lighting.
Well, I think that's where the profitability. I mean, I guess if you make your movies for like $15,
so low budget, okay,
that I guess he must make some money off of that.
I still don't believe that. And like, I mean, I'm on board with you. That is 100% what he means because like this movie, they use burlap sacks for masks and stuff. So they didn't spend any money, but there's no way. Like say he made everything for $15. There's no way he broke even ever on any movie. There's just not. And like,
so
dude, I will defend Joe's movie, Beyond the Darkness, and I'll defend the Anthropophagus.
Yes.
Those are, like, he somehow managed to pull something off, like somewhat like coherent. It's still, those movies are still not coherent, but like there's somewhat of a story, but there's no way he made profit on either of those movies. There's just not. And like Monster Hunter, that was immediately banned in the UK. So who the fuck is watching it? You know, when they did the Video Nasties, like all of his movies were on that list. I'm gonna pull up the Video Nasties list because there's no way people were seeing.
I'm fucking dying. I'm fucking dying. So basically, all of his movies were just bootleg.
Yeah. All 72 Video Nasty.
Oh fuck, that's so funny. While you pull that up.
Oh, the first two movies on the list are Joe D'Amato. The first two.
That's so funny.
And those are his two most like well-known movies. So he's not making money. It's just not happening.
He's so stupid. I fucking love it. He is like horror show royalty in my opinion. Like he's just like, he combines like the stories, the background stories, the fucking the idiotic mindset, like bad movies. Oh man, it's amazing. Oh, holy shit. Well, Claudio Fragasso, he directed this, and his wife, Rosella, wanted him to do this because she hated vegetarians. Her quote is, she was upset with her friends becoming vegetarians at the time, which she claimed, quote, pissed me off. Always a good reason to get into a movie about trolls. Which the vegetarian aspect is heavy-handed. Like,
Sean, it's not. Sean,
well,
Sean.
Okay, wait.
I'm at a loss. I'm getting flustered because when I was watching it this time, like, I love this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like I've said that, and I'm gonna tear it apart, whatever, and I'm gonna hate things about it, but I'll sit down and love this movie because it's so bad. That being said, this is like I've seen it countless times. This is the first time I've really, really paid attention to the plot. This guy, the dad, I know we're going to repeat it again, but the dad of the family always dreamed of being a farmer. So they go to like an exchange home. This guy is midlife. Like, he's up and moving his family because he always dreamed of being a farmer.
And it's like it's an exchange program.
It's an exchange program where the son is being visited by the ghost of the dead grandpa, warning him about vegetarian goblins, which honestly shouldn't affect them because they're vegetarian. So why would, like, it's so fucking absurd.
And why don't the goblins just eat grass instead of turning people
into them? I don't understand.
So, but listen,
they live in the woods, dude. 90% of the movie is the goblins walking through the woods. More food than they could ever fucking wave a stick at.
I actually thought when I was watching it the first time, I thought the vegetarian message was a pro-vegetarian message.
I would actually agree with that.
So she did a pretty bad job at picking a movie because I was actually annoyed because I was like, I don't want to be a vegetarian. Quit cramming this down my throat.
I would absolutely agree.
That is that's Troll 2. So enjoy.
If we ended our 200th episode like that, I would be 100% okay.
So let's actually get into it. Wait, I want to see if I have any other notes about the vegetarian thing. Oh, the music, which again, this is a Joe D'Amato special because did he do Jaws 5?
No, that was Bruno Matti.
Oh, Bruno Matti.
Another Italian asshole.
Well, this guy took the same approach to music that he did, which, well, I guess
they had to have all like grown up together. You know what I mean? Like, they had to have all been from like the same block
and just had these terrible ideas, and they all just encouraged each other.
Exactly.
So instead of stealing music from hit films like Bruno Matti, they picked up a Korg M1 synthesizer.
Yes.
And they used demo tracks and just like sped them up and slowed them down. Oh God. The costumes were obviously all handmade, including burlap sacks, and was filmed in Utah.
Yeah.
Filmed in Utah. They used like townsfolk as actors. Like, wasn't the dad a dentist?
Yeah, and they're honestly, you could tell.
It is if you can pull out like a film that you made with your friends when you were children, it's about the same acting level.
Yes.
Like, would you agree? That's what it's.
And also the same camera shots, because like when the grandpa is telling the story, which we're about to get to, they're just like, it will slowly zoom in onto like his chin. It doesn't, for like no reason.
It's so true. That scene was fucking alarming. That scene was amazing. All right, so we open up, and there's a man dressed as Robin Hood running through the woods, which, of all the costumes that they had to make by hand, why did they waste the time on that? Like, that was weird.
I'm sure that was a leftover Halloween
Yeah, it had
costume.
to have been. It had to have been. Peter was a courageous boy, but oh God, here goes Sean with his fucking spelling. Peter was a courageous boy, but I don't even know what it says. He could feel the fear stick to his skin like dew on leaves. And we meet this guy Peter for not very long. And Peter notices shadows, but they're not really shadows. They are quite clearly goblins, like very clearly they are goblins. They show it to us right away. There's no what would you say?
Suspense?
Anticipation or suspense. Yes. And then, this guy telling the story tells us they were cruel, deformed forest dwellers, vengeful and evil goblins, little people of the night. All this to say, this movie is called Troll 2, and there are no trolls in this movie.
That's like the biggest running. Even if you've never seen it, most people would know that.
It is a movie about goblins,
and it's a sequel.
Yeah, we get this is the scene where we get the unsettling close up of Grandpa's mouth. It's just a big bearded mouth talking. I don't know why. And a musical montage of these goblins chasing Peter through the woods. And how would you describe these trolls? They're like rubber masks, like very clearly rubber masks. And
they're so disgusting. They're honestly probably the best part of the movie, though.
Oh, 100%. And they also have statue ones like we saw in Elves, like the one that you constantly see.
They pulled off the masks, like the goblins, better than elves did.
I mean, as a whole, yes, you are correct, and that is frightening. Like whoever made elves should really, yeah. You know what? That actually pisses me off now. That actually really pisses me off because I'm pretty sure these guys spent no money on this and somehow had an army of goblins running around the town.
Yeah.
The little boy, Peter does a somersault. This guy that's dressed as Robin Hood gets knocked out, wakes up to a woman feeding him gravy.
Who has freckles drawn all over her face, like erratically.
For what reason?
Dude, it looks like Claudio instructed the makeup artist to just close his eyes and go with it. Because it's just a fucking mess in the center of her face. And you're right, there is no significant... Whether she had the freckles or not, it would not have mattered. So I don't know what it added to the story.
The only thing I think it is because I'm pretty sure that woman shows up later in the movie to play a different character.
Oh, so you think the freckles are to differentiate?
Yes, dude.
I mean, the story being a flashback would have been enough.
Because do you remember? So later on, one of the boys finds a woman running through the woods, and he like chases her down.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's the same woman. And if it's not, then the freckles are mind-boggling. Like fucking mind-boggling.
Sean, it still is.
I mean, you're right. I've never seen anything like it. Like it's so clearly just like a charcoal pen that they just punched on her face a 1,000 times. They're not even colored like freckles.
No, it looks terrible.
They're fucking black. So anyway, she feeds him this gravy, and we learn that eating this gravy makes you bleed chlorophyll like a plant and turns you literally into a plant. So
right.
Yeah. And Grandpa Seth confirms to this little boy. The little boy's like, are goblins real? And Grandpa Seth's like, absolutely. The goblins turned him into half man, half plant, which we learn is the goblins' favorite food. But they're actually vegetarians, so they actually don't care about the meat. Like I thought that it was like they preferred a half man, half meat feast or half man, half plant feast. But they only want the plant.
Right.
Well, in comes the mom.
They're vegetarians.
Yeah, in comes the mom while the grandpa's telling the grandson this story. And we learn that Grandpa Seth is actually dead.
because the boy's like, Grandpa Seth was telling me a story, and then it cuts to the chair and it's still rocking. Which the mom should see that chair is still rocking, be like, holy fuck, there's a ghost.
Yeah, and but no, that is not the case. Also, the little boy's acting is just incredible. Grandpa Seth was telling me like catches himself, and she's like, "Oh, you can't talk about dead Grandpa Seth."
This kid is all-time terrible child actor.
I think the sister's worse, and we meet her right now lifting some heavy metal.
She is.
Just cranking out some reps in her room. And the mom...
Did you pay attention to the posters? It's just a fucking mess. Like, all different sports teams, all different music, all different artists. It's just like, they're like, let's just see how much shit we can cram in together that kids might like.
Of course, dude. Daryl Strawberry's poster? Like, why?
In Utah.
And the mom lovingly checks in on the daughter and just like, well, she's like lifting weights like she's about to murder somebody. And the mom just peeks in and just like smiles lovingly and takes off. And we meet the father now who, holy shit, like his acting is, I genuinely feel a little bad. I feel bad picking on him. Because have you ever seen somebody try so hard?
I mean, that's what happens when you find a fucking dentist and make him the star of your movie. Like, think of your dentist, Sean, and put him in a movie right now. I don't understand.
Well, the dad's on the phone and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Nilbog for a month." Which again, so Joe said, his dream is to become a farmer. Why would he just do it for a month? Like it's a retreat, like to work hard, like bust your ass for a month. What a nightmare vacation. And then, he says, "Do you know how many people live in Nilbog? 26. Isn't that wonderful?" That is honestly my nightmare. Like,
what would you do? Honestly, this isn't even a joke. What would you do if your dad suggested you were moving to a town called Nilbog? Just based on name alone. The fuck? Like, of course we're not moving there.
Nilbog. What a name. I also love the whole movie is like everything in Nilbog has the word Nilbog in front of it. Like, it's so unsubtle.
Yeah, at like the milk store.
Nilbog milk, Nilbog ice cream. It's amazing. It's so fucking amazing. Oh God, it's so fucking good. It's so good. And then the mom's like, "Hey, Michael, who are the goblins?" Why is she asking that?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my God. As if you don't know what a goblin. Oh my God.
As she didn't even ask, what are goblins? Who are they?
Then we meet the daughter's boyfriend.
I love this character.
The boyfriend? Well, he is I've never met this movie is actually pretty awesome. So his name is Elliot Cooper, right? Elliot.
Yep.
And he looks like the biggest fucking dork in the world. Like,
he is the biggest dork.
Okay, he is. But later the dad will refer to him as the Cooper's Playboy son. Which is not even close to a description you would ever come up with for this kid. Like, he is the biggest fucking dork. And immediately the girl, like, what does she do? She hits him in the nuts or something?
Yeah, and he says, "Are you?" This is insane. What he's about to say. This is so insane
for 1990.
He gets hit in the balls and says, "What are you trying to turn me homosexual?"
Yeah,
like that is what. Like that's why it happens. But which I don't even. I can talk for hours about that one line because nothing about it. There's not one rational thought you could put into that sentence.
Absolutely not. And I'm hoping it was a language barrier.
Yeah, but those people speak English, so it's not because he's the one that said it.
Also, she
like if your boss told you to say that, he's like,
"Oh yeah."
Be like, I'm not
I'm not saying that on film. And she goes on to rant for a few minutes about how much her dad hates her, how much her dad hates him, how much he hangs out with his friends, which is fucking hilarious. And just ranting about it. And then she's like, I'm going on vacation. Do you want to come? And he's like, yes. And she's like, this is going to be so wonderful.
I know. There's no way I would say yes after hearing all that, first of all. Second, I love this part because after he makes that comment, she accuses him of being gay because he always wants to spend time with his friends.
Yes.
And he's like, I never see them. And all three of them, like on cue, just poke their heads up through the window and start commenting on the curtains in her room.
Now, we do a lot of bad movies where we'll look at the Wikipedia and they'll say it's a horror comedy. But clearly it's not. And clearly they put that after the fact because it's so bad. This movie has elements of comedy that like they're bad. But
yeah, that's like a John Hughes gag.
Yeah,
having like
100%.
Friends pop in the window.
It's like when the ghoulies popped in the window. Or was it the ghoulies or was it the guys in the ghoulies?
It's the fucking dweebs, and the ghoulies saw off.
Oh yeah. What a fucking movie. That movie's fucking phenomenal. All right. Well, the boyfriend agrees. And we cut to the family who's already in the car driving. And the girl is trying her best to cry and not doing very well at it. Her face just looks insane. And it's because her boyfriend never showed up. And her dad just lectures her as... It's insane. It's insane. But he's like, that's why you don't trust that boy. But we cut to the boyfriend who is already driving after them in an RV. And
with all his friends.
With all of his friends. And trying to find Nilbog on a map. And everyone's like, hey, I can't find it. So.
Right. I was told actually a couple times this week that I use this word a lot, which I was not aware of. But I'm going to use it again right now. And their rendition, the family's rendition of Row, Row, Row Your Boat is the most abysmal thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. It is a cacophony of noise. It is headache inducing. How offbeat they are. Like, and they're not even singing together. They're doing that shitty version where like you pick up where the other person leaves off.
Yeah,
and it flows together. And they could not be more off.
I mean, everything about this movie honestly gives me a headache. I'm going to be honest with you. I was actually kind of upset by the end. Talking about it is way more fun than watching it for me.
Was this your first time seeing it?
What?
Was this your first time watching it?
No. I had seen it before, but it was many years ago. And I mean, again, like when you watch it for the show, it's just different because like I actually had to pay attention to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like when I really realized what the plot was.
Fucking drains the fun out of it completely. It's fucking insane. The little boy's having visions of goblins and, and his grandpa on the side of the road.
Which he makes the family stop the car, which they do, and he runs up to Grandpa, who's holding a sign that says, like, do you remember what that sign says?
I don't remember, but it was like, stop them.
Yeah, it looks like it's fucking written with his left foot.
And the grandpa, so he runs out, he runs up to Grandpa, and Grandpa's like, the Grandpa's voice cracked me up, though. Like, they're all such bad actors, but there was something about the Grandpa that just made me laugh really hard. Maybe because he was like the best. I think he was the best actor out of all of them.
The Grandpa, absolutely.
And he's like, I think it's because he was a decent actor, but his lines were so fucking ridiculous that it was like really hard. It was just amazing. So the Grandpa's like, Josh, you gotta stop them from going. You gotta stop them from going. They can't go into that town. It's so bad. Like shit like that. And the family runs out and is like, what are you doing, Joshua? And then it cuts and Joshua is just talking to a fucking vagrant.
Yes, which the family should have been way more alarmed way sooner.
And the vagrant's like, so you're gonna give me a ride? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck was he saying to this guy? But they get back in the car without said vagrant. Also, the vagrant's in all white for some reason. Cleanest vagrant of all time. So they drive into Nilbog finally. And, they said population 26. And as they're driving in, like 26 people are in this one building alone, just watching them walk into town. So that accounts for everyone there. They meet the other family who they're swapping houses with. And they all have
a very ominous family.
I've never seen, you would just get, dude, there is no way you would swap houses with these people. Like, let alone stay in their house. Like, you would never open your house to them. Like, as soon as I saw them, I'd be like, get back in the fucking car. Like, these people they cannot come into our fucking house. Get the keys. Like, dude, this is not happening. Because, like, the dad is quite, like, he is doing the trope of just, like, have a nice stay. Like, we'll be seeing you soon. Like, it's insane. And they all have I don't even know what you'd call it, like a mole or a birthmark on their face. I don't know what it is. It's like mold though.
Yeah, it's clearly a symbol that
they all have. And it's all on their fucking face. Like, it's not like hidden on their arm or anywhere.
No, and it looks like they're branded. Like, it would be very noticeable.
And we'll learn later that it's a clover.
Right.
Which I don't actually understand that either, but it's fine. Plant-based people. It's so fucking weird. Okay. So the little boy, they go into the house, and the little boy of the weirdo family that's leaving throws a ball at Joshua, and he reads it. And it says, "Eat before we eat you." Which is as ominous as it gets.
But I don't get that message, because
I mean, I don't think it's a message. I think it's like a request. I think it was like, hey,
oh, okay, all right.
I think
please,
that kid was,
please eat.
That kid was genuinely like, hey, can you eat that shit that turned you into a plant before we eat you?
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm on board then.
Which is so funny because, right, it's not like you'd expect him to send you a message that's a little bit more subtle.
Yeah, it's like, do this
subtle
or else.
message.
Yeah.
But this was quite honestly like, hey, I need you to eat that shit before we're going to eat you. So go ahead and go in there. And they go in the house and there's a full spread of food. What's your favorite scene in this movie? Is it this one coming up? Because this one's like the famous one, right?
I would say the most famous one is the guy yelling when he gets turned into a plant. It's like, oh God.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, that one's insane, but I always thought this one was the
honestly, my favorite scene might be the popcorn scene.
Oh, it's 100% the popcorn scene because that was their budget. That was so much fucking popcorn.
Yo, when I taught, I would buy this like economy size bag of popcorn for the class. It was like $5 at ShopRite, and it was enormous. But you would have to buy like 20 bags of those. I don't know why they would spend that much money on popcorn.
So they go in. They've got this full spread of food, and Grandpa shows up again to the son. And he's like, don't let him eat, Joshua. For God's sakes, don't let him eat. And then the fucking, okay, you know what? You're right. This movie fucking rules. Because it's just so insane. Because then the grandpa's like, all right, you've got 30 seconds, and like snaps and freezes.
And they're all frozen with like corn on the cob, which is covered in green shit, by the way.
Dude, the grandpa freezes time and allows this kid to like look around and be like, and he's like, think of a plan. You got 30 seconds. Like it's fucking Double Dare or something. And like the kid's like walking around being like, what can I do to make them stop eating? And they're frozen, like about to bite into their food, their goblin food. And the kid stands up and he's like, I must do it. He's standing on a chair above the table of food, and he starts
unzipping his pants because he's going to urinate on all their food.
It's like it's so menacing too, the way he's unzipping. He's just like, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. And he pisses all over the food.
And then it cuts to the mom like scraping all the food into the garbage.
Yeah.
And then the dad picks him up over his shoulder and brings him into his room. And we get this long drawn out scene of the dad like supposedly taking off his belt buckle, which honestly I just think the guy was having trouble with. Because he's clearly supposed to take off his belt buckle, but it's lasting way too long.
Oh man, I loved it. And by the way, this guy's so bad at emoting that you don't even really know he's mad. Like, it's really. Could you imagine what your dad would do if you pissed all over the fucking kitchen table?
I mean, I wouldn't be here.
And this guy's like stomping up the stairs with the kid on his shoulder, and this is like the famous line, like, do you see this writing? Do you know what it means? And I'm doing way more. I'm angrier saying that than he is in this scene. And he's like, hospitality. You can't piss on hospitality. And that's when he's like trying to pull off his belt. But it's crazy because he's not emoting at all. Like, he's just reading lines. And the mom from downstairs is like, don't do it, Joshua. Like, don't do it. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, she's like saying, don't do it, or Michael, because she doesn't want him to, like she thinks like, she's like, this guy's flown off the handle. He's going to kill our kid. Like, beat him to death. And that's just not what you get from this scene at all.
No.
Oh, man.
And honestly, a severe punishment would probably be necessary at that time.
I mean, for sure. Yeah, you pissed all over the kitchen table. But also, just as severe a punishment is this guy talking to his son during the instead of beating the shit out of him, he's just rambling about nothing. Like, I would honestly be like, Dad, just fucking hit me. Like, just fucking knock me out. Like, this is fucking brutal. Like, because he's just talking about fucking insanity. Like, oh God, Jesus Christ. So what happens next? Who gets attacked by the goblins first? Do you remember who gets attacked by the goblins first? For some reason,
I don't.
Okay, so I got it. It's the nerd.
It's Arnold.
Arnold. So Arnold is Arnold is one of the friends of Elliot Cooper. He's got 3 friends: Arnold, Drew, and Brent. And their RV has broken down. And instead of doing anything proactive, they appear to just sit around. And like, that's their plan, is to just wait it out. And Arnold goes outside and sees a woman running around with her clothes torn off, or not torn off, but just torn. And he goes and chases her and tackles her.
He tackles her. He doesn't know why she's running at this point.
I mean, she's clearly in fear, and this kid is like, and by the way, this kid has sex on the brain. So like, this is a little bit of a terrifying moment. Like, you're like, what is this kid's plan? And
also, this kid looks like a maniac.
Yes, he does.
He honestly looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. He got the same haircut and the same huge ass glasses.
Give me the Jeffrey Dahmer. Can you? I'm gonna go to my barber and ask for that. So she goes, "Who are you? One of the monsters?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, thank goodness you're not one of them." And then the goblins show up with giant fucking spears.
And Arnold goes and gives him a stern talking to.
And also gets stabbed in the shoulder.
They just get set, dude. They throw it like javelin style, and it's the most like lopsided throw, softly going through the air.
It honestly looks like they're throwing like a wet towel. The 2 lovebirds, they run to this house. It's a witch. And this witch puts no effort into pretending she's not a witch. Like, you and I live in a world where we don't believe in witches, right? Like in terms of like the supernatural witches.
Right.
If we saw this woman, we'd be like, oh, fuck, witches are real. Like, this is a very real witch. I've been wrong all my life. She has makeup, like white makeup all over her face. It's insane. And her name is Credence. And I'm going to read her name right now only because I'm looking at it on Wikipedia, but it's such a long name. And she says it multiple times and I was never able to get it while watching the movie.
Credence Lenore. I know that.
Gielgud.
Okay.
Yeah, like the way she says it, it's insane. It's so insane. She gives them a molten green drink to drink, right? Which, by the way, the girl literally fucking 3 seconds ago was like, oh, they made me eat this terrible shit. and now this witch is like, please drink this green, like it's bubbling green goo. And she's like, oh, thank you very much. And she fucking drinks it and immediately starts barfing up the chlorophyll.
Yes.
No surprise there. And this girl, has anyone fallen more dramatically than this girl? Joe, she falls up a flight of stairs. I've never seen anything like crawling upstairs. It was insanity. It was fucking insanity. And here's the thing about this movie that is, I don't even understand. They make such an effort to explain this food and what happens when you eat it, and you know what I mean. And there's a set of rules, right, within this universe.
Right.
These goblins, they give you food, and well, I guess they give you food, but that doesn't quite turn you. But the milk definitely turns you. I don't know. And then it turns you into a plant, right?
Right.
But throughout the movie, basically anytime somebody eats or drinks, something different happens to every single one of them. Like this woman turns into just a pile of shit, like a pile of goo on the floor.
Correct. She's like melting. It's like a body melt.
She melts. It's a body melt. And then the boy Arnold drinks the same shit and he turns into fucking Groot. Yeah. Like a fucking human tree. It's fucking bizarre. It's as if they're not even like paying attention to their own movie. Like,
yeah, after she turns into the goo, the goblins come and eat it all up. And then the scene that I mentioned earlier is when this kid delivers the line, when he realizes that he's going to be eaten next. And it's arguably the worst delivered line in movie history.
Oh my God. I need to say too, like, man, I love this movie. Just the language barrier is just so evident in it. Like, it's just so funny because the way they choose to over explain things through dialogue, like spoken word, like that boy Arnold says, they're eating her, then they're gonna eat me. Like, yeah, Arnold, we know. Like, that doesn't need to be spoken. And that's when he's like, oh my God. Well, we cut to the daughter who's dancing like a fucking lunatic. Like, just looks like a fucking idiot. But she sees Grandpa.
She does.
She's been visited by the ghost of Grandpa Past. And
wearing a badass Garfield shirt.
She's a Capricorn.
Garfield's wearing horns. Get it.
I think one of our fans, Rachel, owns that shirt, like original.
Wow. All right.
I know. I think either that or she just posted it and was like, I love this shirt. But that shirt's amazing. And I would love to find the whole set. Quite frankly.
I would too.
I love that it showed the dates. Joe, did you come out with me for my 21st birthday?
What happened?
When we went to Jackrabbit Slims or JR Slims. Yes. And yes, fans, they stole the name from the Pulp Fiction place. And no, it was nowhere near as cool. It's where Brian's Guitars it was.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Joe, Okay, so we went there. My birthday was on a weekday. And
I feel like it was there.
so we didn't get like super drunk. Like it was because I'd already been drinking for several years at that point. And so there's like nothing special about it. So we just went to get a drink officially. And we went to JR Slim's and we're just sitting there. And this woman comes down in almost an identical Garfield shirt. It's a night shirt. And it's torn up. She comes from downstairs to the bar wearing no pants and slippers and is wearing a Garfield nightshirt and just starts screaming at all the actual customers to leave. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. She was like, get the fuck out of here. A place of business, dude. A place of business. She's not wearing any pants. I don't even know if she owned it or if she was just a tenant. Anyway, that's like one of my favorite moments. It was like really fucking terrifying, actually. Dude, people are just so insane. Like, what would possess you to do that?
I have no clue. I'd be so embarrassed.
Right? And she was a anyway. So the daughter sees Grandpa. She wakes up the whole family. Do we want
when
to
they show Grandpa's face zoom in? Such a shitty effect.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the who's the worst actor in the family?
It's a toss up between the dad and the daughter.
Oh, okay. I'm
gonna go with the dad.
I think it goes dad, daughter, son, mother, grandpa.
I would agree with that word. Son might be Joshua might be ahead of the daughter, but it's unfair advantage because he gets more lines.
Yeah, he's got way more lines. But if you guys have send in your votes, fans, we'll not talk about it on the next episode because we'll forget about it. But send them in, sure. They don't have eggs to eat. They just have milk. And she's like, this milk looks weird. Yeah, it looks weird. It's fucking pudding. Like, you fucking kidding me? Like,
so curdled.
It's clearly not milk, you fucking moron. Like, one of the boys, I think it's Drew, or it doesn't matter, does it? No, it doesn't matter at all. So one of the boys decides he's going to go out jogging for milk also. And the cops pick him up. Also, why, like, isn't anyone alarmed by the food being green?
This should be, unless it's not appearing to us. You know how, like, they couldn't see Grandpa?
Yeah.
The only explanation is that, like
it's just not for us to know?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the glowing puck in the NHL. Remember when they did that?
I do.
This is the poison food. It's highlighted in green because a cop picks up this boy jogging and is like, here, have this sandwich. And it's fucking like neon green. No one in their right mind would ever eat that. It's so insane. Also, this movie has so much story in it.
It does.
It's insane. Because we meet Sheriff Gene Freak. My favorite name in the whole movie, Gene Freak. He gives him a sandwich. He brings the boy to buy his groceries. He fails because everything on his list, the guy's like, oh, we don't sell that in Nilbog. Like, he asks for coffee and the guy's like, that's the devil's drink. So all he's allowed to buy is Nilbog milk, which he's told to share with his friends. Yeah. And now is the revelation, the big revelation of the fucking movie.
That Nilbog spells goblin backwards.
And it's revealed in the least exciting way possible. The boy is just riding his skateboard and sees it in a window and is like, oh my God. And then it's like, it's their kingdom. Oh boy. I don't even know, man. So at the Credence house, this woman's acting like an insane person, and the boy who is jogging shows up. He's also now dying. So it doesn't matter much. This is a great scene too. So the boy who was like, this is their kingdom, also for some reason is like, let me go in this building.
Right.
And goes into a building where they're having a church service for vegetarians. And this is why I thought it was a pro-vegetarian movie. Because
Sean, I still think it's pro-vegetarian. I think they're wrong.
What's that?
I think they're wrong. I think her being mad was lost in translation. Is that like she really wanted to be part of them?
Because the church service is like, meat is fucking disgusting. Like, don't ever eat meat. And they catch young Joshua and they're about to force him into eating Nilbog ice cream. And his dad shows up. And his dad's like, hey, what's going on here? And there is a group of adults holding a little boy down in the basement of a building. It is
Of a church.
What the fuck would you, like, are you fucking kidding me? And the dad's like, for a minute, you're like, oh, this is it. Like, the dad's getting wise. But the dad's like, all right. Like, oh, and by the way, the priest is like, we're just trying to give him some ice cream. It's like the fucking South Park scene where it's like, suck it out of a hose. like where they're like, hey, Cartman, where'd you get all this semen? He's like, well, I just had to suck it out of a hose. Like, we're just trying to give him some ice cream. Yeah. And the dad's like, well, all right, well, fair enough. And the dad is totally okay with this, and just brings his son home. And when he
honestly, if my dad walked in on that, he'd probably be okay with it too. He's like, Joe's probably being an asshole. I'm serious.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. Oh man. Well. So. The guy that was jogging, he's eaten a fucking Nilbog sandwich. He's eaten he's drinking Nilbog milk. He's eaten like a Nilbog flavored condom. And for some reason, he's still alive and not turning into a tree or mush. He's just like, oh God. Like it's really fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. And he finds his friend who's turned into Groot. Like, is a tree. Yes. And then Credence shows up and is like, you piece of shit. And then cuts Groot down. Cuts Groot down.
Every time you say it like that, I wish that's how lines were delivered.
It's literally, I literally say it about every movie. There's always some character that's like, you piece of shit. Because it's just the look that they give somebody. It's the you piece of shit look. Just like the Paul face. She cuts down Groot, which does not hurt him. It just tickles him. And then I think she turns him into a milkshake.
Is that what she turns him into?
I think so, because he's gone, and she gives a milkshake to his friend and is like, here's your milkshake. Even though that other boy just watched that all happen. Well, the family gets home from picking everyone up from all parts of Nilbog, right?
Right. And
this movie is so ridiculous. And all those lunatics that were just abusing his son are in their house and are now like, please eat, please eat. And the fact that this movie has 20 minutes remaining is astounding to me. Is fucking crazy. It's wild. I'm
gonna go out on a limb here though. I wanted to say this before and I forgot. The priest is the best actor in this movie.
Wait, are you sure about that?
Yeah, dude.
Joe.
He's menacing.
He's menacing because he can't act. And you're like, wow, if somebody talked like that, that would be terrifying. Like, I don't think that's intentionally menacing, because when he does the voice of the goblins later, it makes me laugh so hard. So the kid tries out to call out for Grandpa Seth, but for some reason a goblin comes through a mirror, like jumps through a mirror, and but then Grandpa Seth does show up, and and chops off a goblin's arm. And then we cut to Credence, and then the goblin runs away back into the mirror, and then we cut to Credence, who has no arm. I think this is supposed to be a big reveal.
Yeah, because she's a goblin. That was Grandpa attacked.
Yes, so that's I guess that's interesting. And then the grandpa's like, the grandpa's the funniest part of this movie. That storyline is so funny because you could almost imagine this kid has lost his fucking mind, because like the grandpa's like, we have to put out the fires, and then hands him a Molotov cocktail. It's honestly, if David Lynch was listed as the director of this movie, people would be like, this movie's fucking brilliant.
You are right. That's correct.
You know what I mean? Because like some of the lines are delivered exactly the same. Like the grandpa is like, we must move quickly to put out the fire, and then hands the kid a weapon to start a fire. And every David Lynch fan would be like, what could this mean?
Twin Peaks season 3 when the guys are spray painting shovels for fucking 5 hours.
Shoveling the shit out. The greatest season of all time of TV ever.
It's not.
Well, the priest takes the Molotov away from them pretty easily. And sends the grandpa to hell. But by no way, by just like doing a chant, by being like, go to fucking hell. And then the grandpa blows up the Molotov, which is in the priest's hands, with his powers. And the priest burns alive. The townsfolk come out and they are fucking pissed. And by the way, this is the first time the family's like, "Oh my god!" Like,
yes, and the movie's almost over.
Like because the corpse is now a little goblin corpse that's on fire, and they're like, "Holy shit!" I don't really know what happens for the rest of the movie. They run around. They corner the family in the house, and they're like talking about vinegar and meat. I don't even understand. Their lives are in imminent danger. And they decide to hold a seance. Like the townsfolk have them surrounded. They know that they're goblins. And they're like, hey, we got to hold a seance. And while this is happening, the greatest scene in movie history begins to unfold in a completely different location, having nothing to do with the movie.
Nothing. I still don't understand why that's happening.
There's no
I'm sure nobody does.
The remaining friend, I forget which one. I think I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's one friend left in the RV. He's watching a movie, right?
Yes.
And a sexy woman.
Filmed this.
What'd you say?
Well, a sexy woman, isn't that Credence?
It is, but she doesn't have her makeup on for some reason.
Right, because she's supposed to be sexy, so she's like incognito. But you can clearly tell it's her.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, she seduces him, and I can't think of anything I would enjoy less than a fucking buttery corn on the cob shoved in my mouth with somebody eating it from the other side.
And you know what's really funny is we've actually talked about. And so ultimately, so they sexily eat corn, and I don't really understand that either. And then she'll be like, he's like, I love popcorn. And she's like, no problem. All we have to do is heat it up. And they start eating the corn, and then popcorn just starts being shot at them while they're eating corn. And that is just fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. And I think it's hilarious because in other episodes, and I don't even know why, we've talked about the old dick in the popcorn box.
I do remember that. And there's no, that would, what a fucking nightmare.
What a fucking nightmare.
Getting my dick all buttery.
This is like the ultimate. These people are covered in popcorn having sex.
Yeah, that give me an anxiety attack. Just salt and butter all over you.
And some of the popcorn kernel, like, oh god, it was fucking horrible. Well, back at the seance, it works. Grandpa shows up and again does his time trick, and he's like, "All right, you've got 10 minutes, but then I gotta go to hell." And
the townsfolk are outside, like it's just an angry mob, like the people that tried to get Freddy Krueger when he committed the crime.
Right. And the little boy turns into a goblin. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry. That's what I thought happened. But
no, he gets the secret weapon.
Yes. But what is the
It's a bologna sandwich.
Oh, right. Okay. So the goblins start running in and attacking. And for some reason, they're at Credence's house. Right?
Right.
and Credence, I don't even understand this. I don't understand what's happening. So anyway, what the fuck does happen? They end up at Credence's house, right?
All the goblins are coming after them now. In full goblin gear. They're not people anymore. They're
but they're at Credence's house, I thought.
I don't remember which house they are, to be honest.
No, they definitely are, because they hug that rock to. Anyway, so they're at.
Well, that's what. Yeah, because that's what destroys her.
I don't even want to talk about that. That was like
the Stonehenge hot rock. That's what they refer to it as.
The bologna sandwich made more sense than hugging the rock at the end. So they're.
I'm sorry. I honestly got chills because I thought of the kid's face emerging from the popcorn and him like wiping it out of his eyes. That's honestly the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, that does happen, and that's the end of that. And so Josh is at Credence's. Grandpa disappears. Credence shows up. She's about to kill him, and then he pulls out a fucking bologna sandwich, and everyone's like, "No!" And I've never seen so much bologna on a sandwich, by the way. He calls it a double-decker bologna sandwich. There's like 37 pieces of bologna in that sandwich easily. Yes. And then the family shows up and they just hug this Stonehenge wall. And the boy just keeps going, concentrate. But I'm not really sure what they're focusing on or what they need to do. And everyone dies.
Yeah, the touching that stone.
And the family disappears.
They return home.
And then it cuts to the family driving home. But they like disappear from the house. And then it just cuts to them driving home. And they all look fucking shell-shocked.
That's probably the most believable thing in the movie.
Yeah. And the kid's like, I'm going to go take a nap. But for some reason, this causes him to walk around and discover everyone disappears. And he also finds a baseball that says, "Yummy, mom is so good." So he goes to look for his mom, who's in the shower, and the bathtub is full of sludge.
Yes.
So the kid runs and then finds that they're eating the mom on the kitchen table.
The goblins are.
Yes, sorry. The goblins are in the house eating the mom, who's now sludge, on the kitchen table.
Yes.
And the goblin, who is voiced by the priest, goes, "Do you want some, Joshua?" And that's how the movie ends.
Yes. A+.
Oh my God, what a fucking movie, man. Troll 2, a classic. It is on Amazon Prime. I don't know what to say about it. It is truly the best worst movie, I think.
I would agree. It's absolutely terrible. But it did not drag like so many movies we watched it do.
No, you could watch it. Especially if you're not watching it like we do for the show. You'll have a great time. This is great with a group of friends, man. Like, especially if they don't know anything about it. Holy shit.
Or if you're having like a Halloween party, throw that shit on.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, next week, well, I don't know if it's going to be next week, but, Hatchet next week. Well, okay. Hatchet's the next movie we're going to do for sure. Absolutely. But Joe is expecting a little baby soon.
Correct.
So
it's in a couple weeks. So next week we should be good.
But you never know. You never know.
My main concern at this point is, since I already have a little one, taking care of her and trying to get things ready is fucking hard. Yeah. So my time might be a little bit shorter in the upcoming weeks.
And that's fine. And we're going to, we'll fill up with some extra episodes maybe and bonus thing or like, Sean and James shit and bullshit. And maybe we'll skip a couple weeks or do something, but, we'll be around. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we've never skipped a week, huh?
No, I don't think so. We'll figure it out.
Spoiled fucks.
You truly fucking spoiled. All right. Anyway, guys, that is it for this, and we will probably see you next week for Hatchet. So Tara and Chris, you'll get your fucking wish. All right. Take it easy. Take it fucking easy. And everyone, thank you all so much for your support. Facebook.com/IHateHorror, IHateHorror.com. I'm on Instagram at IHateHorror.
I'm at Boognish1985.
And that's a wrap. For Joe, this is Sean. Oh, and Joe, shout out your music podcast. Just go to his.
Just go to my IG. It's up there. It's just something I'm fucking around with. I'm having fun doing it, and those that have listened are enjoying it, so thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, guys. Anyway, stay weird. Wait, that's not how I do it. For Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Dissect. Movies all fucking day.
Wanna play? I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch.
Dismember.
A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. A monster.
Mutilate. And butcher. That's it, guys.